Some shows lean left, some lean right, but we leaned local and business. This is North Georgia Business RadioX with Bo Henderson. For the next hour, we will celebrate the businesses in our area and the people that run them. Find us on Facebook at North Georgia Business RadioX and online at northgeorgiabusinessradiox.com. Now, here's Bo Henderson.
So we're talking a lot about local business, and the core component that comes up week after week is the power of communication. And one of the things I wanted to talk about here at the front end of the show is some communication mistakes, maybe faux pas. Is that a good word? I don't know.
Yeah, it's great.
Here with Dr. Bill Lampton, Carl Libba. Going to bring in some special guests today. But Dr. Bill, let's start with you as the communication expert. Any communication issues that if we did them right, we could avoid a lot of mistakes or issues, drama, problems?
One particularly comes to mind, Bo, and it stems from a conversation I had yesterday with somebody. I didn't know the person, but they were referred to me. So we had a Zoom conversation. And at the end of the Zoom conversation, he said, I'm going to send you a link to my website so you can guess the rest of it. He sent the message, but the link to the website was omitted. So I kindly wrote him back and said, you did what I've often done, and many of us have done, a common mistake. We say we're going to include a link, and we don't do it. And I told him, I said, if I had $5 for every time I said I was going to send a link but didn't do it, I would be quite wealthy. And one of the things, I've taught business writing seminars before, and when it included email, one piece of advice I give people on that is if you are planning to send an attachment or you're planning to include a link, put them in before you even put anything else in the email. And that's a safe way to do it.
So there's one. So one, just sending it without the link. There's another variation of that, and that's saying I'll send it to you and forgetting to actually send the whole email.
Yes, and then that reminds me of another one that I'll bet we've all done, and that is you call somebody, you make an appointment with them, you put on your calendar August the 5th, 11 o'clock, and then you walk away from your desk, and the next day you can't remember who you made the appointment with. Have you ever done that, Bo?
Oh, yeah. Anymore, we start meeting. We got to take pictures as people come in because it takes me 3 or 4 times before. I don't remember who they are. We talked to so many people over the years. Well, let me share one with you. I'd love to get your feedback on this one. I had this happen recently, and this was communication, and it's kind of tricky. To me, this almost feels sneaky, and there was communication from someone that works with me. Don't worry, I'm not throwing anybody in the bus. They're not local, so don't worry about that. So
it was me. Okay, yeah. It was me.
Carl the villain.
But here, and you might have a different name for this, but there was no misinformation said, but there was intentional things omitted. So what happened was I was caught off guard or surprised because I didn't have the whole story. And I think in a lot of context, for me, it's just be upfront. Be upfront and let me know the information up front to handle that moving forward.
Yeah, we could use Paul Harvey's words here and say you didn't get the rest of the story.
That's right. So omission, to me, it almost feels, I don't know, is lying, is that too strong to say omission's lying?
Well, I mean, I think the phrase commonly heard with that word is it's the sin of omission. Like it's intentionally done in order to deceive.
So it's the intention.
It's always the intention. Speaking of intention, mine was recently this week, and I do lots of consultings for CEOs, and the CEO is having an issue because some of their team members and the way that their sales funnel is set up, some people could grab leads very quickly before letting other members on the team do it. And this person was literally waiting until like the clock roll over at midnight, 12:01, to start pulling their leads, knowing nobody else would be up at that time. And it was this idea that it wasn't strictly against the rules, but because it hadn't been laid out, you knew the kind of environment you'd start to create inside the company. And so we had to go through and be like, okay, so this wasn't a part of the SOP, the standard operating procedures, but we're going to put it in because it will have detrimental effects on the culture, kind of like what you were talking about. It may not necessarily have been a lie, but the intent is so toxic that it will affect the culture, and you've got to fix it early.
And you said this will always happen. Somebody found a loophole there.
Absolutely.
but further clarification was needed. But that showed that it was needed because the problem arose.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we had all day, we could talk about typos that we've made.
I think that should be for the next show, Bill. That's going to be a whole another one.
I would have many of them.
Well, and if I ever publish some of the things that Bo accidentally texted to me with a typo, I don't know that he'd have a business anymore. I'd be like, what was he saying?
I don't know why in the world my good, whenever I try to write good, auto detects. You know what it detects to?
What?
Hood. Every time. So hood job, the meeting went really hood. I don't know what happened with it. Yeah.
A friend of mine in Canada called it sausage fingers.
There you go.
For your texting.
Yeah. Big thumbs. We call it. Well, speaking, this is North Georgia Business RadioX, regardless of what it might sound like, the voice of local business. You're listening to Dr. Bill Lampton, Carl Libba. I'm Bo Henderson, and let's get to local business. So we have a long-time local business right here in Gainesville, Trophy Case, and Chase Forrester is joining us on the show. Hey, Chase, how's it going?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Good. First, let's just start off. I know I've been around town 20-something years, and it's been here the whole time, so how long's Trophy Case been here in Gainesville?
Roughly about 35 years. I bought the business around 5 years ago.
Okay.
But we've been servicing people here in Gainesville for about 35 years.
35 years. So what in that business have you seen things change as far as what people are looking for? Or is it kind of, hey, the same core business?
Yeah, I would say things have changed for sure. Something that I try to do myself specifically is kind of bring in the traditional aspect, but also put a modern feel on kind of the awards that we do,
right.
And things like that. Just kind of the switch from the classic gold trophy to glass and acrylic, and bringing in modern feel to the classic award ceremony.
And when you talk about trophies, I think of growing up doing sports, getting the trophies for sports, but I know there's a lot more things going on. I know I was referred to you a while back when we needed some recognition awards at work, right? And then there was some, even as far as, I think there was something with one of our family pets passed away, and there was something about a thing for the cremation box, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So talk a little bit about that, just some of the range of things so that people don't just say, oh, I'm going to go get the trophy of somebody holding a basketball.
Definitely. Yeah, so that's our goal, is to spread the word on the fact that we don't just do trophies. We do plastic signage, name badges, desk plates, door plates. There's almost a whole another side to our business that is business related, whether it's needing a name badge for an event that you have, or just simply needing signage for your doors. We want to provide that, and we want to let people know that we can do that.
Having looked at your website, I really applaud your slogan, turning victories into pieces of history. I think back to when I was a kid and went to a camp, Lookout Mountain Camp in Mentone, Alabama. And there was a trophy that, maybe 15 or 20 campers could get. I believe I went there either 3 or 4 years before I was one of those 15 or so who got that trophy. And I still have that trophy because to me, at the time, that was a victory. And it turns that it's such a wonderful reminder to see that. And then Bo mentioned sports, which Bo naturally would. In all my years of playing golf, I was fortunate to get 2 holes in 1. And those trophies are on my shelf in my office. Every time I look at them, I can remember whether it was a cloudy day, a windy day, a cold day. I remember the scene perfectly. So that is a part of our history. And the first time any kid gets a trophy, that's something they probably are going to cherish a very long time.
Definitely. I kind of like to think of it as a token of a memory, something that holds true to a memory that you have.
No, I love that. So we're talking about a trophy, and I wanted to get to that after the break, but that's a first good point, is that a trophy is more than this piece of whatever material. It could represent a memory I have for life. And I've got some other ideas, but let's get to that, talking with Chase at Trophy Case. I'm Bo Henderson, here with Dr. Bill Lampton, Carl Libba. You're listening to the voice of North Georgia Business, North Georgia Business Radio X. We'll be right back. We're talking about memories and experiences, and we're talking to Chase Forrester at Trophy Case and Dr. Bill Lampton here with Carl Liva. I'm Bo Henderson, and you are listening to North Georgia Business RadioX, but we're talking about the connection to, Bill talked about the trophy that reminded him of that, for years, right? The camp.
Yes, right. Still does.
And I think back, I had football trophies going all the way back to 5 years old, and as we were talking, I don't remember seasons, teammates, or anything that far back, but it makes me think of my dad. So there's a connection there because he was my coach at that time. So that's kind of cool that there's a trophy connection to reminding me of my dad. So kind of cool. So the trophy, it's not this X amount of dollars worth of materials. It represents something. So there's a little bit bigger mission there. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have the same thing. My first trophy I remember is a karate one, and I remember my dad handing it to me. And me, like Bo, both of our dads are gone, but those are memories that we have kind of forever in their attachment. And Chase and I were kind of talking in the break, and I'd love, Chase, for you to talk a little bit more about this. You're not, I guess, what I would typically picture, and maybe my picture's wrong, but in my head, when I've walked into a trophy shop before, this is a guy who's owned the shop and, been there for 40 years, and he might be in his mid-60s. But you were telling me you bought the shop when you were 24, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Me and my wife had just gotten married, and we have two awesome sons. My wife's name is Amy, and we have Benjamin and Jack, and it was actually the same year that we had Benjamin, our first son, 24 years old, and then 25. So, yeah, definitely not necessarily the typical person, but we were kind of blessed by that. Through John and Lisa Geyer, who used to own the Trophy Case, and I worked for them for about 5 years, and they just kind of, I guess, noticed that I like creating things and kind of hands-on and putting a spin on something, and they just approached me to see if I wanted to venture out with the Trophy Case, and it's been a blessing ever since.
That's amazing, because you wouldn't, again, looking at your age at 29, you wouldn't go, you've got like a decade of experience now in this industry, and enough experience after 5 years in dedication and commitment that people who had built this business up would come to you and trust you and go, hey, would you like to buy a portion of this? And we'd love to see you run with it. Yeah,
and I also have two... I don't know the word exactly, but kind of wild cards in my back pocket with Judy Robinson and Irene Miller, who have worked there on and off, specifically Judy, who's been there for pretty much all 35 years.
Wow.
So she has the knowledge, and she is that extra wild card for sure, and then also Irene as well.
That's amazing. So I've got to ask an off-the-wall question before we kind of get back to the shop and where you guys are now and, what's kind of happening next. What's the favorite thing that you, or maybe even most memorable piece that you think you've done in maybe the last 5 years since you've owned the shop? Is there something that stands out where you're like, oh, that was really strange, or it was really big, or maybe the story was particularly meaningful?
Thing. Like most unique thing you've seen somebody do a award or trophy for?
So... the fun ones are always, fantasy football, where someone comes in and, hey, I won, so I've got to add something to this. And it's just monstrous and just completely random item.
Right.
But probably one of the most fun for me was me and a friend had a half-court shot competition in basketball, and I said, if you make it before I do, I'll make a trophy taller than you. And unfortunately I lost that bet. So the next day he had a trophy bigger than him. So.
Oh, that's awesome. We're gonna have to get a picture of that so we can show our followers on social media.
Well, is there things you do with local employers, or do they get involved with like programs saying, hey, I want to do an annual award and I want you to be our quarterly award, or is that things that you see happening or would like to see more of?
Yeah, I would like to see a little more of that, but definitely in a sense of quarterly giving, that's definitely more of a corporate style thing, and really what brings that to life is the people here in town.
Right.
And we at the Trophy Case are blessed with a great town that really do care about the people that work for them. So I think there's more opportunity out there for sure, but that definitely does happen.
Well, and what Carl was bringing up is I just think for the expense of holding a meeting, highlighting your people and the culture is such an easy, I don't want to say easy, but it's something that you could do so much cheaper than having to replace staff and all those things. Well, let's talk about this for people listening. So you can think of an event to let people know you appreciate them, you value them, you see them, or you're highlighting an event or an activity with this. I know you split off from Jay Geyer in location. So where are you now? So if people are saying, hey, I need to stop by and maybe run some ideas by you.
Our address is 266 College Avenue.
Okay.
So we used to say we are behind the bridge to nowhere, but that is now the bridge to somewhere.
There you go.
Or soon to be the bridge to somewhere. But we're over by South State Bank and on College Avenue.
So the road right behind South State, kind of.
Definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. And on a day-to-day basis, what kind of things are happening or being made? What's just kind of the...
Between sports seasons and corporate awards, honestly, most of what we're doing is name badges and signage. And that's kind of one of the things that we want to provide to the community is if you're an employer and you have a meeting that's important and you lost your name badge, or it got washed in the washer, we want you to be able to call us and say, hey, I need it now, and we'll provide that for you. That's kind of the idea of the local community, because if you were to order through online, you're looking at 2 weeks before you get it, or maybe a week. But the idea is that we would be able to provide that same day if needed.
You mentioned name badges. You see I have one on, and a friend of mine who is very successful in marketing his business said, and this was before COVID when we all were going a lot of places, but he said he never went into any restaurant in his town or any other without wearing his name badge with something about his company on it, because quite often, more than he expected, somebody would start chatting with him, look at his name badge, what he did, and eventually that could turn into business. So it's sort of I guess we could say it's a miniature brochure. We used to hand out brochures, now we have name tags.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's almost your own little billboard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chase, going forward, I always like to do a vision casting. Any vision for new things you want to add, where you see the business maybe 3-5 years from now?
Yeah, one thing we've been thinking of recently is 3D printing.
Okay.
So if someone wanted to come in and get their logo, or if there's just some odd pose that they want of a football player throwing backwards, we would be able to 3D print that and put that on a trophy.
And how much of this equipment's in-house that you can do right there?
In the sense of 3D printing, or what we
Just
do in
a
general?
lot of the overall.
Yeah, so we have 2 lasers and a rotary engraver, which is a diamond tip engraver. So pretty much 95% of what we do is in-house, hands-on.
Wow. So that's the turnaround time. So if I need something, I've got a local person I can talk to and call. I think that's huge from the online perspective. Now, when most people are looking, say, okay, I have an event, somebody I want to do a recognition award for, a trophy, is it a website? What's the best, or come by the store? What's the best way to
Typically, coming by the store is always best, because we have so many different things that we can offer and show. Online is based off of showing what we can do, but if you want to get specific details and specific examples, it's usually better to stop by and see Judy.
So I can come in with an idea, and you guys can help me with that. I like that. So it's like a award trophy consultant.
The idea is you walk in, I have an idea, and we make it easy as possible.
There we go. So the trophy case, again, let people know best way to get in touch. Come by the store. Anything else, Facebook or
Instagram?
Instagram.
You can stop by the website, but typically face-to-face is our...
I love it. Carl, we'll have to go out to the store and get some pictures of some of their items.
Yeah, the unusual poses. And sorry, just for those of our listeners who are just tuning in, what's the address and best phone number to get in touch with you guys?
266 College Avenue and 770-535-1589.
That's Chase Forrester with Trophy Case. Chase, thank you so much for joining us on North Georgia Business RadioX.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, guys, go out and get your awards, trophies. They're consultants. Just tell them an idea you have, and they'll help you figure out the perfect way to express that or nail that. Now, when we come back, I've never won a trophy for biking, but we do have a local bike shop that can talk to us about how to help us out with that right here on North Georgia Business RadioX. going to talk about a local business that's Habersham Bicycle, right? Habersham Bicycles. And Joe Elam's here. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me.
And you're welcome to participate. But before we jump into learning about the business, one of the things we do every week is we highlight the Greater Hall Chamber of Commerce, our great chamber that helps promote, create resources for the local business in our community. And Carl, Kristen had a couple of announcements this week.
Yeah, we do. We've got a business after hours, which is happening on Thursday, August 12th from 5 to 7, and that's at the Georgia Mountain Food Bank. Now, the food bank knows that love means making sure families have food, and they work hard every day to get food to neighbors in North Georgia. So you should come and learn more about how the food bank is growing the love in our community at their business after hours event. It's hosted by the food bank, and the event will focus on the food bank's role in feeding those dealing with food scarcity, both before, during, and after this pandemic year. You can also help the food bank prepare for their empty bowl lunch by participating in bowl painting at the BAH bowl painting. And those participating, you can do a $10 donation per bowl, and it's a wonderful way to support the food bank's efforts to provide 1 million meals.
Wow.
And the proceeds of the empty bowl will go, and you can enjoy food, music, fellowship as we get back together. And remember, those $5 for chamber members, $15 for non-members. And if you need any of the details for that, you can get a hold of Mandy at 770-532-6206, extension 115. And remember, that's again on August 12th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Georgia Mountain Food Bank.
And again, a big thank you to the Greater Hall Chamber of Commerce and the good work. That 1 million meals.
1 million.
And that's in our community?
In our community, they're trying to do 1 million meals.
Wow. Yeah. Well, let's go to our business. We have Joe here with Habersham Bicycles. And now, Joe, first let's talk about the location. I know, so people want to know where you are. You're over there off of Limestone.
Yeah.
Talk about that building a little bit. That building's, it's been a lot of things in my life, from a gym to what you guys have there now. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting building. So we're at 2480 Limestone Parkway is the address. The building's affectionately known as Limestone Place.
Okay.
In the building, myself is there. There's a running store known as Georgia Front Runners. There's a personal trainer. She has a couple of partners with lots of clients that come in and out. So there's lots of activities in the building. The Colored Egg is one of our business partners now. The Colored Egg is just Amazing. Some of the best bakery.
Joe was doing a promo for their cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls. I almost didn't make the segment because I just left.
It's making it really hard to stay in any kind of bicycle fitness when that's in the building.
You need the bicycle fitness after that.
Yes, in fact, that's why we ride. So, but it's an interesting building. It was built originally as a Gold's Gym, then it became a Rick's Gym, and then it sat empty for a while, and it became a church for a while.
Okay.
In fact, some of the remnants of the church stages are still in the building. And now it's a marketplace type of atmosphere. It's really a unique experience. It's not like a flea market by any stretch of the imagination. We're all in there, and we have very professional businesses, very professional retail spaces, but it's a shared atmosphere. It's invite anybody to come over. Building's open officially Monday through Friday from 10 to 5. However, some of the other businesses have hours in and out of that. So,
and to Joe's point, I said go by and check it out. You can go in, you can have lunch, right?
Yes.
They have massage therapists there.
They have that as well.
The running store, the gym.
There's
bicycles.
I keep forgetting about this. There's a doctor who has a the chamber for
barometric.
Thank you. Okay. And he does IV therapies.
Oh, wow.
And then there's a new doctor who's just moved in who does the needling.
The acupuncture?
Acupuncture.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. So we have a very interesting space.
You're a full-service place.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So you go over in the morning, you could have some cinnamon rolls, and then you could stick around for some acupuncture. After that, you could have some lunch. And after that, you get a massage. And then if you got any energy left, Joe can take you for a ride.
Absolutely.
Get some gym clothes to go on a ride. I like it. So, Joe, tell me a little bit about the bicycle shop. So I know I'm doubting you just got out of school and said, I'm going to be a bicycle shop owner.
It didn't quite work.
What's
that
the path
way.
there?
So I actually grew up off of Dawson Highway. One of my competitors is over there, Biketown USA. I worked for him for 16 years, and I graduated high school and went off to college for a short stint, and I was still working in the bike business, and I just didn't really know where I was headed. So I stayed in the bike business. I became manager. I had all kinds of pretty cool experiences. a man gets 30 in his age, and at that point in his life, he starts to decide whether this is it or do something else.
All right.
And so through a lot of prayer and time with my wife, we decided we'd give it a try. So I've owned my own store since 2000. I have one up in Alto, which is Habersham County, so that's where the name comes from.
That's the Habersham, okay.
Yes, and then the second location here in Gainesville. It's really kind of cool to come back to Gainesville in the fact that I had served a lot of those bicycle customers in my prior role. But no, I don't think anybody wakes up and decides they're going to open a bike shop, and it's difficult. I enjoy the experiences. I fret the opportunities, as that people like to call those, but business is hard. Business is hard.
Well, I'm curious, is bicycle something that you worked the job, you worked over there, had the experience, or is it a passion for you? Why bicycles? Why?
Oh yeah.
Why make that life's work? You made that decision.
That's a great question. Of course I love the bicycle.
Don't tell me you don't ride at all. That would be awful.
No, I ride. I have been through lots of different levels of riding, from racing to everything. Currently, my wife and I ride. We love to ride rail trails. The city is working on one, and it's got a ways to go before Gainesville's will be adequate distance for what we do. We'll travel to Greenville. There's one up there, Swamp Rabbit. We'll travel to Atlanta, to the Big Creek. There is nothing like spending the day with your wife on a bicycle, getting opportunities to just stop at little stores and all kinds of stuff. That's where I'm at with bicycling right now.
Nice.
I do it for fitness. I do it for mental fitness, and I do it to spend time with my wife.
Experience. It's kind of been a theme of the show.
That's amazing. So for you, I know that, like you said, with lots of different levels of bicycling, are you like clip-in shoes, or this all kind of pretty casual, almost like bigger fat tire kind of when you're talking about going on the rail trails?
Yeah, so on the rail trails, we're using kind of what's considered a hybrid, so it's kind of a blend. It's got a skinnier tire than a mountain bike, but fatter than a road bike. Hey, I'll wear my flip-flops sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
It's very casual. I got a buggy. We got us a pup a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So got a little weight training going on by pulling her along in the buggy.
I was going to say, did you see those quads when Joe came in?
Right. So it's much more of just an enjoyable opportunity. That said, I ride with folks and I do all the clip-in. I've got mountain bike, I got road bike, all that as well.
Yeah, gotcha.
One of the factors that occurred to me when I noticed that you were going to be with us today, Joe, is how many cities, large or small, are missing opportunities to help their citizens by cutting down on car traffic by making bicycle traffic safe. I had I've got a relative who recently was working in Atlanta. He's changed jobs now, but at the time, he was 6 miles away from his work. In his car, it took him 1 hour in morning traffic. He decided that he could do much better than that, and so he started biking to work. And every time I'm in a town where I see a designated bike lane, I'm thinking, why don't we do that more in the U.S.? Because Europe, of course, has done that for so long. Do you have thoughts along those lines?
Absolutely. I've been in the industry long enough, and I try to keep my thumb on what's happening in other places. Portland, Oregon, is an example where there was quite an investment in bicycling. And it's made a significant difference for the health of the people, for the congestion within the city.
Sure.
They invested multi-millions of dollars for bridges for bicycle use.
Air quality.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Go downtown Chattanooga today, and if you've been there before, they've invested in rail trail. Greenville, South Carolina, invested in rail trail. West Georgia, anything from Atlanta to Alabama that's along that Silver Comet Trail, look at the history of those communities. Lifestyle is a big deal. And multi-use paths, which we'll call bike paths if we want to, is a very attractive reason for people to come to communities. I sometimes tell this story. Now, folks realize I have moved to Habersham County, and that's my home, but Gainesville is where I was born and raised. I tell people the story of Hall County versus Forsyth County. The reason I tell them that is Forsyth County invested early on in rail trail, in bicycle trails, and they still have bike paths. They have skate parks that have been there for a lot longer than the current one we have here. If I'm a professional and I'm considering living in Lake Lanier, and I have Hall County to consider, and I have Forsyth County to consider, and I have a wife and kids, I start thinking about outdoor opportunity. To answer your question, I think it would be beneficial for more of the agencies, governments, to consider that investment. Far and away, the return is much better for the low cost in the investment.
Thank you.
You know, Joe, I have a lot more questions about bicycling, your shop, but let's get to that after the break. I'm Bo Henderson. We're listening to Joe Elam with Habersham Bicycles. We got the co-host, Carl Libba, and Dr. Bill Lampton. We'll be right back with a whole lot more right here on North Georgia Business Radio X. So we talked about a lot of benefits of bicycling, and one of the things that came up that I want to ask you, Joe, in just a second is this idea. You know, if I'm going to Murphy, we go there a couple times a month, and in a lot of cases, I see these hardcore bicyclers. They're clipped in, like Carl said, driving over the mountain. Now that's not me, so I'm sure you got something for those people, the hardcore.
Absolutely.
But what about everybody else? What about me? Just says, hey, I had fun as a kid with a mountain bike. Maybe I just want to go take a step in. There's a big range of people that can enjoy and utilize bicycles. So my question to you is, if I come in, can I tell you what I'm looking for? And you kind of, I don't want to feel intimidated because I don't drive over the mountain, right?
Yeah, you don't want to feel dumb stepping in that situation.
You know, thank you for bringing that up, because I think that's the unique characteristics you get when you choose to work with local business, whether it's the bicycle shop or the ice cream store or the trophy guy. Our goal is to match your desires with the product and to make sure it's matched correctly. In the bicycles, there are so many different types of bicycles, so most of the time a new customer comes into our store, we're going to spend 20 or 30 minutes doing no more than trying to figure out what your expectations are and try to help meet those expectations. We'll get you tied into the right style of bike, then we'll get you tied into the right size of bike, and then we'll educate you on the bicycle, how it operates. We'll let you test ride the bike. We back it up with a year of free adjustments. There's just a lot of support that we will provide, and to make sure our goal is to make you another cyclist. If we can grow more cyclists, it's safer, it's better, and there's more opportunity for all of us.
Well, that means a lot to me, just not feeling like I'm going to feel dumb because I don't know these things coming into the bicycle shop, to know that you'll take me and say, here's where you are, here's the best fit for you, and educate me.
Yeah.
I'm Bo Henderson. You're listening to North Georgia Business Radio X. We're talking to Joe Elam with Habersham Bicycles, Carl Libba, Dr. Bill Lampton here. As we're going through that, Joe, that first step, so I come in. Is it a consultation? I just say, hey, here's what I'm looking for, and I'm going to be riding off-road maybe a weekend a month, and you just help put it together.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll help you out. We'll answer any questions you have, and one thing we'll probably try to discuss with you is if you've had any prior history of cycling, what those experiences were like, and then we can try to help make a great choice for you. We would rather you come back a second time before you make the purchase than force something down your throat while you're there today.
If we can do like the 2-minute version of Bicycle 101 for listeners out there, they're just like, hey, again, I had a bicycle as a kid, but main variations.
Sure.
Is there 2 or 3 main styles that people should just be aware of that, hey, that might be something I should ask about?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the most common styles now is a mountain bike. Gainesville has a great mountain bike park at Chicopee Woods. The other style is the road bikes. A lot of folks see those guys riding. If you visit any of the Georgia mountains on the weekends, you're going to see a lot of people on the bicycles riding in the clipped-in style. There's hybrids. And in the hybrids, there's comfort hybrids and there's fitness hybrids. The difference there is comfort means that you're more in an upright posture, much more relaxed. It's very much so what my wife and I enjoy doing on the weekends. A fitness hybrid is going to be the bike to ride to work. It's going to be a little more upright than a road bike, a little wider tires. It's going to be a little more robust. It's great for transportation. Then, of course, we have kids' bikes, and we have cruiser bikes, and we have, array of electric bikes, which are really starting to become an important part of our business now.
I was about to say that's my speed, but that sounds lazy. Doesn't it?
No.
Well, but also the pun is right there. That's my speed. Get it, speed bike.
Right.
There's no question. You ride an e-bike, as we call it, and you're going to smile.
Oh, yeah,
There's
100%.
No question about that.
One of my clients is called Edison, and they're the electric bike company out of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And you're right. You literally just see one of these, because one of the things I love that you said before earlier is when you shop local, when you partner with local businesses, you don't feel dumb. Because I've been in a big city, whether it's kind of in New York or even in Midtown Atlanta, and walked into like a really cool bike shop, and sometimes it's unintentional. They don't really intend to have such a high cool factor, but if I don't feel like I'm going to be an Olympic cyclist, you walk into that space and you're like, if I'm not a hipster or an Olympian, this might not be for me as a father of two in my early 40s now. As opposed to what you're saying, I love this idea of I can walk in and there's somebody who's going to help my 8-year-old pick out his first big sized bike. And that's going to be a life experience. Kind of we were talking about earlier on the show, trophies are these things that are memory makers. And all of us can remember our first bike. You might not remember the color or the brand, but you remember the way that it made you feel. And to have somebody in town where I can walk in and go, maybe like our case right now is a family of 4, we have no bikes, right? So we have the little bikes that my kids learned how to ride on, but there's nothing we go out on the weekend. And to be able to walk into a store like yours and go, I'd like this size bike for my size and age. My wife would like something a little different. And then the kids could be like, oh, we like that one. And for somebody to be able to walk us through the whole process. And like Bo, you were saying, make sure I don't feel dumb. Make sure you're turning me into a cyclist. I think it's just such a valuable thing to have in the community.
One of the things I do, Joe, and I have a feeling you'll resonate with this. I have a retirement planning firm. And one of my goals over the years, 21 years of doing this, is to help raise our clients' retirement IQ. And with what Carl's saying, hey, I'll make you a better cyclist if I raise your bicycle IQ so that next time you come in, you feel a little better educated. You know the next questions to ask. And eventually you might be the pro. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a joy to see people come from just beginning and see their adaptations. Some go on and become superstars, you know, and others are just riding on the weekends.
That's right.
Both of those I get lots of joy out of seeing.
Well, living in Alto, the other shop in Alto, why keeping this base in Gainesville here? Why Gainesville? What's the secret?
Well, Gainesville is a wonderful community. There's a lot larger population, so from a general business standpoint, it just makes sense to be in a larger, dense area. But Gainesville's a great community. It's where I grew up, and it's a great opportunity. Gainesville has 2 professional bike shops, myself and Biketown. Biketown's great guys, great people here within the city.
Right.
And the reason is there's a lot of bicyclists around.
Right. There's a demand for that.
That's correct.
Well, one of the things I was wondering, we talked about the importance of having that local person I can go in and talk to, but what are you thinking about brick and mortar businesses moving forward in your world? It's
incredibly difficult to equate today's style of business in a local. The competition online is fierce. The margins are thin to begin with, and then you're dealing with sellers who can just sell cheaper than you can possibly imagine. Our differentiation is that we're going to help hold your hand, guide you, answer your questions, and provide you a service that we hope you're willing to pay the extra dime or two for.
It's the service and relationship.
Yes, sir.
And there's enough people, I think, that what I see too is it kind of goes back. It goes totally non-extra help, and then it's like, I actually missed that. You see it swing back in the economy. What about the next 3-5 years? Any vision for, is there going to be Habersham Cycles 3 or Bicycles 3 or
Habersham Bicycles 3 is in the long-term planning.
Oh, wow.
COVID changed things. Inventory is a huge challenge, so I'm delayed by no other reason than the fact that if I had a store, what am I going to put in it right now? Right. So, but it's in the works. That will be down the road. I just enjoy it. It's so much fun. I'm 50 now, which is old for me, but it is what
35.
It means I've still got 25 years to work, right? So
there you go.
So I'm going to keep building, keep growing, and keep doing what I can.
Well, for those listening, and like Carl said, I loved it. Whether it's the kids getting their first bike, whether it's the adult getting their bike that they haven't had one in 20 years. And they say, you know what? I listened to Joe on the show. He sounds like somebody I could talk to. What's the best way? Come by the shop, go to the website? How can people plug in or at least reach out to you?
Sure. So you can do both. HabershamBicycles.com, full-service shopping environment there if that's your desires. All the connections are there, phone numbers and times that we're open. 10 to 5 Monday through Friday in our Gainesville location, 10 to 6 Monday through Friday in our Alto location, and 10 to 5 or 10 to 4 on Saturdays. Phone number is 706-894-2453. You can reach both shops at the same number.
Joe Elam with Habersham Bicycles, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
You get a free cinnamon bun with the purchase of a bicycle.
That's true.
I'm Bo Henderson here with Dr. Bill
Looks like we're buying bikes.
Carl Libba, and you've been listening to Joe Elam with Habersham Bicycles. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to North Georgia Business RadioX with Bo Henderson. What local business do you know that should be highlighted on our program? Let us know. Just search North Georgia Business RadioX on Facebook or contact Bo at businessradiox.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time. And remember to support our local businesses.